I'm so excited to speak with you. You seem to live my life that I would love to talk to John Waters and know Billy. You truly live like an iconic life already.
Thank you.
No, I'm excited to speak with you. I will get into horror because I love speaking about horror movies and things like that. But I want to talk about documentaries with you. You nailed this documentary. I think retrospective documentaries are hard to do. I don't want to watch 18 hours of anything, let alone
Yeah.
even love. So I love that you've made a strong documentary. What were your influences with crafting this?
Actually, it was some documentaries that I had watched while I was in film school. There was this film that we had to watch called Stories We Tell. If you haven't seen it, it's really good. It won a bunch of awards and things like that. But it was my first insight into a documentary mode where the filmmaker was a participant in the story. It talks about this woman's dad, because she's adopted, or things like that, and she's like set out on this mission. It's not like the sole focus is all the other interviews, but then we see her setting up her cameras and talking to her dad on screen. And I didn't even know that documentaries could be that way, and I thought, wow, this is a lot more interesting than your typical documentary, because I wasn't a fan of documentaries at the time. And so that really motivated me to make something that was personal. And my documentary professor at school hated that I put myself in the documentary. She's an old school documentarian, and I fought her on it, and I'm glad I did.
No, I'm glad you stood your ground there, and I'm glad you made this documentary because it's an interesting perspective, and you have a different perspective of this than a lot of other people because you are attached to it. Was the family aspect of Chucky something you've realized early on? Like, did you realize that this feels? I joked in my review that this is more family than those Fast and the Furious movies. This is really a bond.
We're family. Yeah. Yeah. I obviously knew everybody had good relationships with each other per what my dad had told me. And so I really hoped to focus on that. But you never know. That's the thing about documentaries, is you never know the answers you're gonna get, or how candid somebody's actually gonna be, or honest, or anything like that. So I was just hoping that other people had similar stories like my dad, and they all did, which was a relief of like, okay, this is a story that I can actually tell that does focus on the family and get quite personal. And I think being in the family, to an extent of being my dad's daughter, it allowed everybody to be a lot more candid in their interviews. And that was my goal as well. You know, a lot of horror documentaries, they'll have the lighting really moody because it was a horror movie, and or like a weird green screen backdrop of the set that they were on. And my goal was to just like go to people's houses, not use a lot of lighting, just be very natural with it, of like, you're getting to know these people as I am.
For such a large group of people to be invested in a story that has been told for over 30 years, to be a part of that is truly special.
To be a
I have to say, on a personal note, I love the setups of that. Like you mentioned, all the things, but I love that Alex Vincent had his Chucky doll right next to him. Everyone else was in the background. He's had his just like his best friend. It's so good.
That's funny. That's his like music recording studio. I was in college at the time when I did Alex's interview, and I was in Tallahassee, so I drove 4 hours down to him in Clearwater.
That's my
And
area now. So
oh hi, yeah. And my dad gave him that good guy doll. Was like our gift to him at
oh,
that point. So he was like actually really excited to like show it off as like his new doll from Colts. I think he was super stoked.
well, that's awesome. Again, the family bond of this, was that the message you wanted to get across with this? I think we all go into documentaries wanting to say something. What did you want to say with this? Is it the look, we are a crazy bloody family?
Yeah, pretty much. And then, I figured, and then that was the focus and the goal. And then kind of working backwards, it became a retrospect, because I felt like we can't talk about how the movies made us feel or anything like that if the audience doesn't know the movies first. Even though people could be diehard Chucky fans, like I wanted to open it up to everybody. If you're just watching a Child's Play movie for the first time, or you've only seen like one random one, that you could like follow along and get to know a bit more insight. So yeah, that was the main focus going into it. And then it turned into a retrospect, which is funny because most people, it's the opposite way.
No, I love that. I think like I said, came across very well. Now, moving to horror, is this a genre you like? Because you seem to have a love for it, how you speak of it, and you're a film school nerd like I was, so I get it. What is your horror background? Was Chucky your introduction, or did you fall in love kind of on your own?
Chucky was my first in-person introduction. I didn't watch Child's Play, or the first movie I watched was Seed, and I was 8, or around the age of 8. But yes, I'm a big horror fan. I love horror movies. If you were coming to my house in high school, especially, like, we're not watching anything other than a horror movie. And yeah, my first, trying to think what was the first. I grew up with like early 2000s horror movies, so like The Ring and The Grudge, the American versions.
The Ring shaped our lives. Like we all
Yeah,
use that as the horror movie for our age group.
exactly. So I liked those things, and then just it kept going, and then Paranormal Activity and all those things.
Yeah,
So
I like that. Mine in college was showing people things like Martyrs and a Serbian film, just like the offensive things. I'm like, here, come to my house and come watch this.
watch this crazy movie.
Into it.
All the boys have tattoos. All the girls are big girls. They're kick ass as girls, and they always have a great sense of humor. I love the horror fans.
I get
No, I love that. And I see that you have a film background. Are you going to make your way into the Chucky family proper anytime soon? Do you have goals of maybe directing an episode of the show or anything like that? Because you're so close to it that I want to see you like in the family.
Thank you. Well, it's either my goal to like have a cameo and die. I just like that'd be cool if that could happen at some point. I would love to homage to my dad and get decapitated.
One
I
of the
think
best bets. I love that one.
right. But obviously that would be a dream to direct an episode of the series. But it's really hard when you're young and you don't have like, although I am physically close to it, they shoot in Canada. I'm not Canadian. I also have not shot an episode of television yet. It's a double-edged sword because they have to take a risk on hiring you, but that would be the dream. And it's such Don's baby, but it's a baby that I very much understand. So hopefully one day that would be.
I would love to see that. That would be great. And my final question, do you have a favorite Chucky entry? I know everyone's been kind of making fun of Child's Play 3 for getting the dust in this, but I'm a personal Seed of Chucky fan. I was wondering if you're there.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's really cool because very rarely do I hear people say Seed is their favorite.
Waters fan. You got me with him saying the words masturbating midget is burned into my brain forever. Like that movie is iconic.
That's so funny. Yeah. No, mine would have to be Child's Play 2.
A perfect pick. Sassier Alex Vincent. You can't turn that down.
No, and Kyle's so great, and the Toy Factory scene's so good. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for speaking with me. This was a blast. I cannot wait to see you do more in this industry. What a great debut documentary.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for your time.